All right, so we are going live on YouTube for anybody following there. And we are recording here. So I'm going to admit the teachers into the call now.
Hi.
Hi there. Let's unmute the class here. So we have Mrs. Longstaff's class in New Jersey. Are you guys there?
Can we all say hi? Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. All right, I'm gonna mute you here. So for everybody, we have let's see. Miss Longstaff's class, you guys are muted. Welcome to Reach the World's video call with Windsurf. We have some teachers who will be probably coming in a couple of minutes. We are also live on YouTube for anybody watching online. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat and introduce yourselves in the chat. We are here we are calling into Curacao right now in the Caribbean aboard the Windsurf, where we have Lorena, who works for the Windsurf right now. And she's going to share a little bit about what her life is like aboard the ship, where they're going, and what careers are like in this field of tourism. And she also has a special guest with us today, Chef Greg, who's going to talk about what it's like to be the head chef for an entire cruise ship that's going around the Caribbean for the next 56 days. So I'm really curious to learn all about what it's like to manage the food for passengers aboard this ship. So Lorena, thank you so much for being with us today, and I'll take it over to you.
All right. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Lorena, and I'm from Philippines. I work on board Windsurf as the assistant destination manager. So basically, we deal with tours, and we offer the local tours to our guests on board. And also, here on Windsurf, there are we have a lot of crew. Actually, there's 210 currently on this cruise, and we have 333 guests on board. And also, just to give you a recap of where we've been for this week, I'm going to show you a map to make it quick. So this one, let me just switch the camera. So this is where we've been the last time we were in Barbados. That's the start of the cruise over here. And we went down to Tobago, Manowar, and then we have another place in Mero, St. Vincent, Grenadines. And of course, we went back to St. Lucia, but this time we are in Soufriere, which is very near to the Pitons. That's a famous landmark in St. Lucia. And then we have a long cruise over here going to Bonaire. And so for us to be able to go there, we have a 1 day at sea, whole day and a half, actually. So we arrive in Bonaire around 12 noon. That's a part of the ABC Islands, and that's Krylendijk. And then the next day today, we are now here in Curacao, and tomorrow we are going to Aruba, Orangestad, the Orange Town. So that's just a quick recap of where we've been since the past few days. This is actually our third week of the 56 days voyage around the Caribbean. And also, it's very exciting to see these places. It's actually first time for me to be here in Curacao and also in the ABC Islands. The very exciting thing about working on the ship is that, well, you get paid to travel around the world. It's also very fun because you see a lot of places. You meet different people in all different nationalities, of course. Even if for the crew we have a diverse nationality of the crew. Mostly for our guests, they are from United States, but the rest is other countries like Canada. We also have some Mexicans on board and so on. So it is very exciting to work on the ship. And also part of it is, of course, your experience and growth as a person. You definitely learn a lot from the culture, the history of every place that you go to. And well, aside from that, you earn money. Everything here on board, as a crew, we don't spend anything. So everything is being provided, like food, um, even the uniforms, everything. So basically, if you work here on board, you can save your money, and then when you go for vacation, then that's the time you can actually spend them. So that's it for a very quick just to give you an overview of what we do here on board. I'm gonna give you now to our special guest, our chef, Chef Greg, from Philippines. Hi, Chef.
Hello, good morning. By the way, my name is Greg. I'm all the way from the Philippines. I've been here in the Winstar for almost 5 years. I'm in charge for all this galley operation, all the food outlet. So I'm in charge for everything. I have the biggest crew on board of the Windsurf. I have 39 person on my hand. I have 10 utilities, which is the one who's cleaning the galley, silverware, plates, and so on and so forth. Then I have 29 chef and cooks that they cook, helping us to make the guests happy. So I started my career 17 years ago. So I started in a big company, and then after that I come here in the Winstar, and which is I like it. It's much better. This is a small one, and I have a lot of things that I can show to the guests. So, for example, my everyday routine when I wake up in the morning, I go check all the venues, all food venues. I check, I taste if it's on the proper standard that we have. I taste everything, then I go to the office and check the mail. Then, as you become a chef, you have to work on all different kinds of areas. So I know some already of the things before you become an executive chef. You know, you have to know the basic things before you get this position. So I was certified with the American Culinary Federation 5 years ago, and I've been in the Bacardi competition also that I've been qualified and to become a chef also. Here in the Winstar, there is a good one that compared to the big company. Here in the Winstar, we can go in the market, local market, and show it to the guests about some local foods and fruits, and we offer them and taste them for the duration of the cruise. I have some of the things that
Great.
we buy.
Yeah, right before we see any more of this, let's save this for 1 second. I want to introduce a new class that has just entered as well. So I'm going to unmute a class in Brooklyn right now. Can you guys say hi?
Hi.
Hi, kids.
All right. I don't think we can hear you, but can you guys hear us? Can you give us a thumbs up if you can hear us? Yeah, thumbs up.
All right.
We can hear you, but it's really great to see you all. All right, so we've got another class that has entered, and just
Can you hear us now? Sorry.
yeah, let's hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. First of all, I just wanted to mention that we're in Queens, not Brooklyn.
Oh, you're in
This is fourth grade at PSMS 200 in Queens, New York. You guys want to say hi?
Great.
How are you?
Great. Thank you guys for joining the call. We have Lorena and the chef Greg, who are talking to us from the windsurf in Curacao in the Caribbean. So I'll pass it over to you guys because I think you have some really unique samples of the kinds of things that you guys make aboard the ship.
Yeah. So in continuation.
Okay, hello kids, good morning. By the way, my name is Greg, as I discussed. So you want to be a chef also someday? So to become a chef, you know what's everything, the baking, the cooking, the pastry, how to make the soup. So that's the basic one to become a chef. So here in the Windsor, we offer to the guests to go in the local market to go and check some of the local fruits and vegetables. A few days ago, we've been in the Castries. We go in the market, and we still have some left that we buy in Castries market. I know it's a different color now. Last night we have the deck barbecue. We have a nice uh, golden hand chef that they create some of the carving demonstration. Uh, Vegetable, they have this small Twinkie birds. Everybody see that one? Then in Castries, we buy some spices like the cinnamon, star anise, and some cloves. This is the local one from Castries. And we buy some local thyme, which is one of the good flavor that we get in Caribbean. So it's a dried thyme already. We have the star anise. So we use this one. We offer this one as a local food for the guests. So everybody like it. And one of my favorite one is the chili that you can find only in Caribbean. The small red one is way very spicy. So we offer to the guests if they like the food very spicy, we use that one and we give it. Then in Caribbean also, we managed to get some small banana like this, pineapple and young coconut and plantain, which is normally you find in Caribbean. Mangoes we have, but last night everybody liked the mango and the papaya, so everybody liked that one. So everything is finished last night.
Wow. So the native fruits there that you're getting in the Caribbean, you have those mini bananas. Can we see those? Mini bananas.
Yes.
They're
Very
really
cute.
small. And
Yeah.
and pineapples that are grown there.
Yes, pineapple is a different flavor compared to the other place in the Caribbean. We have the sour soup also, but it's a different color now. One of my guy, they put it in the fridge, and it came from the hot place, so it's different color. One
Wow,
of the
that's called summer sop. Summer sop.
yes, exactly. We call it in Spain also guyabano. In the Philippines, we call it also guyabano. We have the plantain, we have the coconut.
Can we see the
Coconut.
plantain? Oh, coconuts. I think we're all expecting coconuts in the Caribbean. And let's
Yeah.
see the
Yes.
plantain. Great. They
Yeah,
look like
this is a
giant
good
banana.
Yeah.
And then
And the
I know
dried
that,
thyme.
so the Caribbean is also known for its spices there. Are any of these spices specific to the Caribbean? Can you only get them in the Caribbean?
Normally in Caribbean, we get only this jerk seasoning, which is a good and quality of seasoning compared to the one that you buy in Europe. It's already made in advance, but in Caribbean, you get the fresh jerk seasoning and so on and so forth. So Lorena and I, we take some video. We make this cooking demonstration a few days ago, and we have the food tasting in the galley. As a chef, we have to taste everything, all the food from bread, appetizer, soup, dessert, and cheese that we offer to the guests. And we take some video, and Lorena is going to send it to you. And after that, I have a quick menu briefing with the waiter. So they have a quick idea what they're going to tell to the guests. For example, a dish that they contains gluten. We have some guests, for example, we have allergy. They are gluten free or dairy free or allergic to seafood. So we make that one every day for my routine.
Sorry guys, we have a period change here, so we're gonna just have to hop off for a second, and we're gonna jump back on with the next class.
All right. Well, thank you all
Hope
for
you-
tuning in. Fourth graders. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.
Great. So they're going to hop off, and I know that the next class that's coming in has read the articles on the different kinds of food in the Caribbean. Now I have a question for you. How do you get all of this food? Because you are how many people are you feeding? And do you get it all at these different markets?
We have 333 guests, and they have 204 crew members. They have all the fresh produce and frozen item like the meat. We get it from US. So I make sure that during the ordering, I make sure that enough for the duration of the cruise. So in case something happen, we have to go in the market and buy something. Here in Caribbean, it's way too difficult to get it, like the lettuces or strawberries, which is not growing here in Caribbean. Not like in Europe, you go in Europe in the market, you're going to get everything. That's the difficult one here in Caribbean.
I guess that makes sense. There's no strawberries or lettuce in the Caribbean.
Exactly. For the crew member, they have different nationality. Mostly is Asian, Filipinos, Indonesian. So they have different kind of food that they wanted. So we communicate those crew member what they wanted, and we give it for them for this lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and so on and so forth.
Great. So I have another question. One piece of fruit that I didn't see there that is my favorite fruit is the cocoa bean. And that's used to make chocolate. So is chocolate a big thing in the Caribbean? Are there specific islands where chocolate is a big thing?
In Caribbean, yes, you're going to get this original cocoa. That's normally we find it in Caribbean. Last market tour I buy, and I show it to the guests, which is high percentage of cocoa. It's a little bit bitter compared to the cocoa that we buy it in the market. So that's the good one that I show it to the guests, and I managed to cook it, bake it, and the guests taste that a local cocoa.
Wow, that's really fun. Well, thank you guys for showing us all of the different stuff that you make. And I have one question. So these little fun birds that you're making and fun pieces of fruit, do you make those? How did you learn how to make those?
So I have a chef or a crew that they have a golden hand. They use only a small knife like this, and they just cut it by their small knife. So we have the orange, we have the lemon or lime on the head, and this is the red one. Is the red radish, small one, and the eye is the black olives, and this is the lemon, and this is the carrots.
Wow.
So
fun.
this is made from honeydew, cantaloupe, eggplant. So I can make this one, but it takes about a few hours. But for them, it takes only 2 minutes or 3 minutes to make it.
Wow. Wow. I'm sure your guests love that. It's a lot of fun. Well, great. Thank you guys. I'm going to open it up for questions now. So Ms. Longstaff's class, does anybody have a question that for Chef Greg or for Lorena about food in the Caribbean or their jobs in working aboard the windsurf? So I'm going to unmute you all here. And let's see if we can, if anybody's brave enough to come up to the mic.
We have one for you. Go ahead, Luke. What's the starting salary?
Can you repeat that?
What's the starting salary in this job?
Question. All right. So what are the different salaries aboard the ship?
Was that different?
Different salaries aboard the ship, and how does that work?
I'm sorry, we cannot hear it clearly.
What are the different salaries aboard the ship in terms of do you get paid a full-time job, and are there hourly jobs, and how much are those sort of starting salaries?
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
for my side, as a chef, I have a full salary, a monthly salary. So I am the head of the department of the galley. Then I have one executive sous chef. That's my right-hand man. So in case something happened to me, he's the one who replacing me, which I always train them. So it's better for me if you have your second man is ready for that position. Then I have the two sous chef, which is my second command or third command. Then the rest I have different kind of scarf. So when you go in the different ship, they have some different color of scarf. Uh, Normally they have the blue one, the black one, and the red one. So the blue one, it means newly hired in the company. We call it cook assistant. So those, the blue one, they have 8 months contract and approximately they have a little bit lowest salary. So they are the beginner. Then after that, after 2 contract, 3 contract, they become a black. They going to have a color, black scarf. We call it demi chef de partie. So it's like they have already some certain crew that they own their hand. Then after that, they have the red scarf. We call it chef de partie. So it's we call it junior supervisor. So the salary is getting higher and higher. Then
Yeah.
after that, they have the sous chef.
Also to add up, so the chef mentioned that we have different number of we are contract by contract. So every time we go for we embark the ship, we already have our contracts. We know how long we will work on the ship. So for me, for Chef Greg, we normally have 4 months contract, and it's already fixed, including the overtime. So basically, we work 10 hours a day and no day off. It's just time off. But we have this specific standard that we have to have 6 hours non uninterrupted 6 hours of rest. But the rest is it's breaking. So yeah, that's how we work here on board. Even though we work every day, we still have time to spend ashore. So we enjoy the place where we've been to. So yeah.
Wow, neat. That's really cool that for a chef, you can kind of, you know, your ranks based on the color of the scarf, starting with blue and then black and then red. And so how many years does it take to move from one scarf to the next?
It's different to them about the experience. For example, they have blue scarf. Some of them they have already experienced back home. So if I know that those people they have interested and they have knowledge, in one contract they get promoted. So I always encourage my guy. I've been on those positions. I always encourage them, take your time to learn, and I'm willing to teach them because I was on position 20 years ago.
Wow. Wow, it's great to really stick somewhere and then you learn and grow up in the ranks. So it's good to see that there's that hierarchy. And Lorena, you had mentioned that you save money when you're aboard the ship. So when you get paid your salary, you're saving enough money to be able to go home. So do you work for 4 months of the year? How many months of the year are you working on contract?
But for this contract, I have 4, but sometimes we get 6 months contract as well. So we normally have 6 contract, then 2 months off, and then another 6 or 4 months, depending on how the operation needs us. So on those 2 months vacation, we are also paid. We also have vacation pay. So how cool is that?
Oh, that's great. That sounds like a really good gig. Yeah, and you get to travel all around the Caribbean. Amazing.
So that's a big difference between us and the guests, because if the guests are paying to travel, we are getting paid to travel.
Sounds like a smart idea that you guys have there.
Yeah.
Well, anyone else from Mrs. Longstaff's class? We'll open it up to you guys.
Any other questions, guys? Oh, shy today. How about what kind of schooling do you need for this?
It's a great question. So what kind of schooling do you need? What kind of training do you need to get both of your jobs?
Yeah, for me, I took tourism and hotel and restaurant management, major in tourism to be exact. But it doesn't really matter because the more important thing is your experience. after you take you got your degree, if for us in the Philippines, we have this agency who work directly with Winstar. They're the ones who hired us, and they do the trainings, everything. So before they hire us, they have to do a background check of what you where you've worked before. So you definitely have to work in a 5-star hotels for like 2 to 3 or 5 years, depending on how. Right now, it's 5 years. 5-star 5-star hotel that you have to work with for like 2 to 3 years. So you have to have that qualification, and aside from that, you have to also have the SOLAS trainings for the seafarers. Of course, that's very important. So all those things you need to complete before you can get the job on the cruise ship.
Thank you.
Neat. And then how about you, Chef Greg?
For me, I was graduated as an electrician, but accidentally I like to cook it. I like to taste everything what I see, especially the fresh fish. Those is my habit, fishing back home. So I started back home. I go in the some of the culinary school. I go for training, and I joined some of the competition, like the black box competition. So black box means you don't know what item you're going to cook. So I learned from that one. Then I joined one of the big company, which is the Royal Caribbean. So I stayed there for 12 years in Royal Caribbean. So they spent money for me to go in the American Culinary Federation, and I was graduated in the American or ACF. So after you get graduated in ACF, you're going to get a certification that you are a certified culinarian. So after you graduated, all the company that they want interested with you, they're going to send by mail if you want to work with them. So they're going to give you offer how much money are you going to get if you are willing to work on that company. So luckily I came here in the Winstar, and I'm very happy to work on this company. If I know this one long time ago, I'm going to stay here and started my career in this company.
Wow, so you've had a really interesting long career in the culinary world. And it's really cool to hear that you get more training with the jobs that you're at. So when you're at a job, they'll provide even more training so that you can get that next step and the next pay grade, which sounds like a really fascinating career. Great, guys. So let's see, is anyone else from Ms. Longstaff's class? You guys have a lot of questions about careers. I'm guessing you guys are studying careers right now, tourism?
They're in the culinary department at our school. They're the chefs at our school.
What's that?
Can you guys repeat that one?
They are in the culinary department at our school.
Oh, fantastic. You're in the culinary department. Wow.
They're very experienced.
Wow. So what?
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So do you guys do any black box competitions there where you don't know what you're going to cook? And that sounds like a really scary training initiative.
So, for my guys, once we are free time, I make some like a competition. So we make some dishes that I compare to the black box competition. Like here in Winstar, we go in the market. So if I see something which is local fruits or vegetable, so I call the one who interested to use for cooking, and I make some little competition how they can create, how they're going to use the one I buy local fruits or vegetable for them. Then I going to judge and I going to taste. So that's the basic thing that I know, and how those people, they have a talent or knowledge how to use those items.
And I have to ask, what was the strangest or most difficult item from the Caribbean that you challenged your staff with?
For the gali, as I said before, if you run out with something for the lettuces or the strawberry, that's challenging if you run out with some item. the most challenging for me, the people, the guests, for example, they have different kind of food that they wanted. So that's some of the challenges that I encounter it. And one of the difficult thing also here in Caribbean is the weather. Sometimes the weather is way too difficult to interact with or to check it, especially if you have the bad weather. In the galley, it's way too difficult because the ship is moving badly, and we encounter some of the guests that are complaining, "Oh, I order baked potato and I get mashed potato because the ship is moving badly, so the plate in the galley is going to move also. Instead of mashed potato, they put baked potato or the rice."
Wow. I'm sure it's really challenging to be in a kitchen on a boat. Wow, it's wild.
Yeah.
And do you guys think you could give us a tour since you are right now in the restaurant? Can you kind of show us around what it looks like and the kind of environment that you're working in right now?
Sure. So let's go. Maybe we can show them the galley. Yeah. So this is Ampora restaurant right now here. So this is the main dining room. Yeah. So this is the main dining room, but we have two more restaurants. We have the Stella Bistro and Candles. Those two restaurants need to have a reservation because it's a smaller venue. And right now we're gonna show you the galley. This way.
The galley. And what is a galley? What's that?
I did.
That's the kitchen. Yeah, good ask question. This is where we prepare the food, chef. This is his place.
So this is my place. Lorena will take a video already, but if you want to see it, we go inside in the galley. I know they have some difficulty with signal here in the galley, but we're going to try to show it.
Okay, so we might cut out a little bit. Oh, wow. It's huge.
So this is the Ampora Galley, the dining room that we are before a while ago. So this is the place where they prepare all the foods, and this is my place during dinner time. Like for example, Lorena, they want to have a cheeseburger for their lunch, so one of my guys they prepare already cheeseburger for her. So this is a very hot area. This is we call it like a salamander, and the food will stay hot here. So this is a ticket holder for the waiter. They take the order, for example, and they place the ticket here. So once the table is ready, for example, they want the main course, I'm going to pull out this ticket and I'm going to call to my guys. He's standing at the back. Can I have one steak, one chicken breast, one pasta, one vegetarian, and everybody answering, yes, chef, yes, chef. So it means they understand what I need for the ticket. So, like as I said, we have the person with the red scarf. That's Chef de Party. So he's all the way from India.
India. Cool.
Wow.
So this is Mr. Jonathan. He's all the way from the Philippines also. He's wearing the blue scarf. It means in the first contract, second contract, soon it's going to be a black scarf. So he's working now in the pastry, sweet area, lactose free, sugar free, no calories. So that's why he become like this.
Wow. For the class just joining, we learned that the chefs here wear different scarves depending on what level they are in their careers as in the kitchen. So right now we're getting a tour of the gully which is the boat's kitchen. Wow, there's lots of food there.
This room is for the room service. So, for example, the guests that they don't want to go in the venue, they want to stay in the cabin, so they call the room service. Then they have for the room service.
Oh, we're losing you there, Lorena. I think you might need to come back to the signal.
This is automatic. Just put the press orange and automatic juice on this one. So we serve fresh orange juice every day. And
I
one day. So
Lorena, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, I think we are having a for
So
the
they have a
freezer.
noise in the machine on the ice cream freezer or the ice.
Yeah, I think we're getting too deep into the kitchen here, and we're really losing signal on you too. So let's go back out where we know that we
Go back.
Tour of the or the kitchen.
Great. Wow, it looks like it's a big
So we're
office.
going back now to. So we have also the wines inside the chiller. It's hard to see, but we have the coffee
We have
maker.
the coffee machine, espresso, decaf, or cappuccino. So the waiter using this one, if the guest asking for the coffee after the episode.
Yeah, it's quite noisy inside here. So let's go out.
Wow.
So how is it?
Yeah, much better. So this is a huge kitchen, a huge operation, over 500 people that you need to feed, and you guys are on a ship in the Caribbean. What happens if there's a big storm or you lose power? How do all those machines work?
Well, for us, we don't normally go to places with storm. That's the ship's navigation area's job to make sure that we go to places that are with calm seas or less swells, just to make sure that we will be able to have a steady grounds. And but if in case, because sometimes we cannot avoid the swells, chef we do have a heavy secure objects operation, or it's a kind of a system for us to secure all the heavy objects or all the equipments, to make sure it doesn't fail during the swell or the movement of the ship. So we have our officers on the bridge, which is where the navigation area, the navigation control is. They give us a warning before we go or we enter an area with rough sea.
For the Johnny side, if the bridge send us the mail that we're going to encounter a rough sea, so we have a meeting already with my guys, and I reduce some of the menu. For example, for the buffet, we don't put some fancy things, decoration or food carving, which is too dangerous if we have a rough sea. Maybe a guest they're going to eat those food carving. So we minimize those items, and we have to make it, or else they're going to complain that they get hungry during their vacation.
Mhm. Wow. So if there are rough seas, big waves, or a storm coming, you guys change the menu and make it a little bit easier to cook. So really interesting. Looks like we have another class here, another class in Queens. So I'm going to unmute you all and you can say hello.
Hi. You want to be?
Hi, everyone. Does anyone have any questions for Lorena and Chef Greg, who are right now in the Caribbean? talking about food and food in the Caribbean and their jobs aboard the ship. So any questions
Why don't
from?
you ask your question, Sean? You can come right up here to the camera and just speak into the computer. Remember your question about the nutmeg?
So can you eat the fruit of the nutmeg, or you can't eat the fruit of the nutmeg, like the outside?
The nutmeg. So basically, the nutmeg is a spice, and you cannot eat it like a raw. We use it for food seasoning.
So for example, the nutmeg, yes, we use it for the spice, and we use for the sauces. Like if you want the lasagna, we're making a white sauce. For the pasta, we put some of nutmeg. So that's one of the strongest spices that we are using it. So it's like a dust or a powder. We use this greater machine or something.
Yeah, and also, as you know, nutmeg has been used to give flavors to something like ice cream or chocolate. As if you were with us last video call, I've shown you a chocolate with a nutmeg flavor.
Even a dessert like a chocolate mousse with nutmeg, a tea with that nutmeg, with ginger. We put also some spices that we get it from Caribbean. We have this cinnamon, which is a strong flavor that I taste it compared to the Europe that we get it.
Great. That's probably interesting for Miss Longstaff's class as well. Let's see if there's any more questions over there. Any more questions in computers?
Just hang on.
I'm sorry, our class had to leave because they had to go eat lunch, but thank you for having us.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Sure, we have plenty of questions here.
All right, let's take it back to Queens.
Okay, so Vladimir, Kat, do you want to ask the question that we just talked about? So just go to question number 2, because we want to give other people chances to ask questions.
So my question
So wait, why don't you say, what's your name?
my name is Vladimir, and I have a question. Do you guys use a menu, and also how do you make the chocolate? Those are my 2 questions.
The menu is how they use the chocolate. The question?
If we have a menu and how we do it, if we make our own chocolate.
2 questions.
Oh, yeah, 2.
So one question is if we have our menu. The second one is if we do make our own chocolate on board.
The chocolate, we get it basically from Europe. But as I said, we go in Caribbean, they have a local chocolate that we brought on board, and we use that one. We make some chocolate cake, chocolate cookies, and so on and so forth. So we put that one on the menu as a local dish from Caribbean, and so on and so forth.
Great. Thank you.
And also, wait.
All right, let's hear it.
No, there's plenty of people. I want to give other people a chance. All right.
Thank you, Vladimir, for your question.
You're welcome. Wait, can you please?
Make sure you introduce yourself.
It's okay. We can wait. We can wait for you. Hi.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Nicholas, and hold on. Okay, so where do you get the ingredients from?
Great question. Where do you get the ingredients from?
So normally we get the ingredients from different kind of the world, but the first one is from the Miami. So all the items they collect in Miami, but they get it from different kind of the world. Like the spices, they have some places in South America. They have also Caribbean, but we making as possible to go for the local one, which we can introduce to the guests that we are using the local one. Like this time we are in Caribbean, we get some local fruits and vegetable that's they are normally grown in Caribbean.
So you try to use local foods. Okay, great. Did that answer your question?
Come on, boys. Yes. Yeah. Come on up.
Thank you, Nicholas, for your question, by the way.
Hi, my name is Ariel, and what's the most popular food that you guys make on the sales trip?
The most popular food.
So, like here in the Winstar company, mostly our guest is on the age of older one, not a younger one. So they like the a very healthy food, like not too fat, not too oily. So that's the quality of guest a guest that we have in the Winstar and the Winstar. But sometimes we have kids also. So they want some kids food like a pasta, a cookie that they like it, and some chicken finger and pizza that normally kids eating it for every day.
So because there are some older guys on the ship.
I'm hungry.
We didn't have food.
You guys are getting hungry now. All right, who's next over there?
Ready?
Come on up.
What popular fruits are there
in the country.
In where? What country are you talking about? They're in Grenada right now. Is that what you want?
They're actually in Curacao.
Oh, in Curacao. Okay. Well, maybe we can talk about both places.
Great. So yeah, great question. What popular fruits are there? And you know what? I think that this class didn't get to see the fruit display. So why don't you guys, can you show us what you showed us earlier?
Yeah, so we have here.
We have here the young coconut that we get it in Caribbean. A few days ago, I go in the market and buy this one. Local pineapple that they grown in Caribbean is difficult. It's a little bit small compared to the other part of Caribbean or Europe that they grow on this.
Sweeter.
We have the plantain, also a different kind of plantain compared to Asia. This is a long one, and we have some spices that we buy also in pastries in Saint Lucia. They have the cinnamon. This is the freshly dried cinnamon, the star anise, cloves, and so on and so forth. And we have the dried thyme. Here in Caribbean, the thyme is more stronger flavor. And one of my favorite one, the chili. So this is one of the spicy chili in Caribbean. We call it the Scotch bonnet. And one small piece like this, you're going to be sweating. Jalapeno. And the fruits that I have here is different color already, which I buy in castries. So we call it sour soup. It's a little bit sour. It's like kind of apple or something, but it's a sour flavor. In part of South America, they call it goyabano. In Spain, in the Philippines, we call it also goyabano. And banana, small banana, and the Twinkie bun that is made from orange, The I is came from the black one.
And we have the watermelon.
So this is the watermelon that they carve it. They use only the small knife to shape it like this.
So yeah, the popular fruits here in the Caribbean are mostly pineapple, bananas,
Mango.
coconuts. Definitely coconut.
Wow, great question. Coconuts, little bananas, plantains, watermelons, citrus fruit. There's a lot there in the Caribbean. I wish we had that kind of fruit up in the north here. I'm jealous. All right.
So we're about out of time, right? Or
If we could probably take a couple more questions, if anybody has any more questions in the class, we could probably go for 2 more.
yeah, if we have, because we have about 10 more minutes. Okay. Okay, introduce yourself and then you can ask your question.
Hi, my name's Josh, and I have a question. And it's how did you become a chef?
How you become a chef? From
It's a
electrician to
long
chef.
story. I graduated as an electrician, but I don't like to become an electrician. I started to work in the restaurant and the hotel, 5-star hotel, and I want to work for to join the competition. So I've been in the black box competition in Singapore. I've been in United States in Miami to join some of the competition like a Bacardi competition. So I use those kind of wine liquor from the Bacardi, and I get the title as appetizer holder for that competition. Then I started to work in the ship 17 years ago. Oh, I work in the big company, which is the Royal Caribbean, which is good for the kids. They have a lot of amenities, playground that the kids they going to join that place. But for if you want the quiet place for the elderly people, like what we have in the Windstar, so a quiet place. So those people they like that one. So I'm here now in the Windstar or Windsor, which is a very nice place to work. So if you want to
Wow.
become a chef, that's the good one because you're going to taste everything. You're going to taste the dessert, ice cream, cookies, and so on and so forth.
17 years, great. And you get to taste everything. That's a lot of fun. All right, we have time for one final question.
Hi, my name is Mason, and my question is, how do you travel to get the fruit?
How do you travel to get the fruit?
How do we travel to get the fruit?
How do you get all that fruit on the ship?
Well, basically, they are all shipped from Miami. Most of the fruits, but chef, because it's a big number of fruits that we need to feed 500 people on board. Most of them are being shipped from the US, and some of it we get it from the local market. As what Chef mentioned, he does the market tour. Also, he buys the fruits and vegetables in the local market to give to introduce it to the guests on board of what food they have locally. So depends on where we are actually.
Yes,
Wow.
we offer them the local market tour with the guests. So what we see, what I see local things or fruits or vegetable, we buy it and we put it on the menu and offer them as a local dish for what region we are.
Wow, I'm sure you guys are buying a lot of fruits in those local markets on the islands of the Caribbean that you're visiting.
I wanted one quick follow-up because a lot of us haven't been on a cruise ship. So just when you do go on market tours or you go to the islands to get locally sourced food, how do you get off the ship and bring people to land?
So there's 2 ways to get off the ship. If we have a bigger pier, we dock alongside But if we are anchored, that means the pier is too small for the ship to go alongside. We use a small tender boat that takes guests and crew from the ship towards the shore side, to the small pier over to the other side. So I actually sent a small video clip to Reach the World, so you will see how we operate the small tender boats if we are anchored, and how we assist the guests going in and off, on and off the tender boats.
Wow, great. Thank you guys.
Very good question. Thank you.
Yeah, so we will stay tuned and keep an eye out on Windsurf's journey page to the Caribbean on reachtheworld.org. And that's where we'll find more videos and learn more about how you guys are navigating all of these people around the Caribbean for 56 days. It's a really impressive feat. And thank you so much for taking time today to share about what it's like to feed everyone and to get the food from the Caribbean. So I'm gonna say thank you guys very much. I'm gonna open up the classroom. Can everyone give a big wave and thank Lorena and Chef Greg for being here with us today?
Thank you guys for letting us be part of your classes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Bye, kids.
All right, make that 2 seat now.